There are so many stories in Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu. Tinubu. Ifeanyi Ejiofor, Ejimokor, Aisha Buhari. Nigeria at large, politicians, Baba, my God. Now, straight to the headline. Release and negotiate with Nnamdi Kanu like Mandela, Martin Luther, and also Gandhi. Ejimokor tells Tinubu. He said, release, negotiate with Nnamdi Kanu like Mandela, Martin Luther King, Gandhi. Ejimokor, is telling Tinubu. Aloy Ejimokor, the special counsel to Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has urged President Bola Tinubu to fulfill his promises and negotiation with the agitator. Ejimokor said that Tinubu should first release Kanu before engaging him in a negotiation. Also tweeting, Ejimokor said such a step was taken before they negotiated with Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Gandhi of India, and Martin Luther King of the United States. He wrote, Mr. President, it is time to fulfill your promise to negotiate the agitation. But it's unnatural to negotiate with a man in chains. The first step is to free the man. That's how they negotiated with Mandela, Gandhi, and Martin Luther King. Mr. President, again, free Nnamdi Kanu. Thank you. During the presidential election campaign, Tinubu had promised to negotiate with all agitators in the southeast amid Biafra agitation led by Kanu. Tinubu vowed to negotiate with all agitators to ensure peace in the southeast. He also insisted that a negotiation was best for people to get their demands and complaints rather than resorting to violence, rather than resorting to greed, rather than resorting to conflict, rather than resorting to dispute. He insisted that negotiation was the best for people to get their demands and complaints rather than resorting to violence. And now, Ejimokor said Tinubu should first release Kanu before engaging him in a negotiation. He said such a step was taken before they negotiated with Nelson Mandela and also Aloy Ejimokor, who said leader of the indigenous people of Biafra has urged President Bola Tinubu to fulfill his promises and negotiation with the agitator. Now, negotiating with Tinubu negotiating with insurgents, or Tinubu negotiating with Nnamdi Kanu, and also the negotiation would go all round way to all agitators. That's what Tinubu said, because in the history of Nigeria, we'll see that Nigeria, has not dilapidated like this, or dilapidated like this. The way Nigeria is, going bankrupt day by day is not encouraging. If Nnamdi Kanu is released, no one can use his name, or no one can cause mayhem, or use his name to cause mayhem in the country anymore. And Ohaneze is giving us the point of view from that side, and telling us about the release of Nnamdi Kanu, appealing to President Tinubu. In this also, if Nnamdi Kanu is released, no one can use his name to cause mayhem in the country anymore. Ohaneze is still begging. The Apex Igbo socio-cultural group Ohaneze Indigo has reiterated calls for the release of a detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Nnamdi Kanu, from the federal government. Now, on the newspaper reports that the group spokesperson, Alex Ogbonnia, while speaking on ways to solve the activities of IPOB, factional leader Simon Ekpa in the southeast urged the Nigerian government to free Nnamdi Kanu from the custody of the Department of State Service (DSS) in Abuja. Alex Ogbonnia claimed that Nnamdi Kanu's release will restore peace to the region. And according to Ogbonnia, no one will be able to cause mayhem in the country or in the name of Nnamdi Kanu if he is released, and Simon Ekpa will have no excuse to back up his agitation anymore. He said that the continuous detention of Nnamdi Kanu and the region's social inequality contributed to the agitation in the southeast. He also said if Kanu is released, at least the likes of Simon Ekpa will not have anything else to say again. And no person can use Nnamdi Kanu as an excuse to cause mayhem in the country. We have been consistent on the release of Nnamdi Kanu. We believe that the problem of what happened to Nnamdi Kanu has contributed to the agitation. What is happening in the southeast now is the manifestation of the social injustice method on the southeastern part of the country. Ohaneze is saying there's Ejimokor on the other hand is saying is, and everybody from the southeast wants Nnamdi Kanu to be released or freed, because if Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention, there will still be agitation as far to release Nnamdi Kanu, even if there's not going to be revolution. If Ohaneze is urging Tinubu to declare state of emergency in South and make sit-at-home orders, and also requesting for Nnamdi Kanu to be released because it is uncalled for that Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, still needs freedom. Ohaneze, urges President Bola Tinubu to declare state of emergency in Southeast over sit-at-home order. The Nnamdi social cultural organization has also called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to declare a state of emergency in the southeast in the region in response to the ongoing struggle, ongoing sit-at-home order or thereabout. Ohaneze emphasized that declaring a state of emergency would send a strong message to the southeast governors, compelling them to take decisive actions, and also find a lasting solution to the order. The organization expressed their concern over the worsening crisis in the southeast, which has been exacerbated by the sit-at-home directives issued by Biafran agitator, or rather Simon Ekpa, giving another narrative. Ohaneze's Secretary General Okechukwu Isi Guzoro stated that the organization would not allow miscreants to disrupt economic activities in the southeast. He urged Tinubu to take firm action, similar to what would be expected in a state of emergency, to address the situation and restore peace and stability to the region. Isugu Zoro also voiced concern about the potential division among the Igbo people due to Ekpa's action, and called on other leaders, such as Peter Obi, to speak out against the rebellion. Ohaneze expressed hope that Tinubu's intervention would help squash the rebellion and prevent any conspiracy against the president. This is where I'm going to draw the curtain. I would like you to share your views in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening.